stories ignite. Skip's little bar, a beacon of light. From the Coachella Valley stars to cool everyday movers and shakers on the show. Join Patrick and Randy, let the stories flow at Big Conversations, little bar. The magic spreads near and far. Presented on Mutual by the McCallum Theater. Candid tales are shared. Nothing could make this sweeter.
Welcome to the center of the Coachella Valley universe. You've made it to Skip Page's Little Bar with Patrick Evans and Randy Florence. Get ready for another fun and story-filled episode of Big Conversations, Little Bar, presented by the McCallum Theater. Order tickets now by visiting McCallumTheater.org or call the box office at 760-340-2787. Now in their 8th season, here are your hosts, Patrick and Randy.
Well, thank you very much. We are back here in the coveted corner booth of Skip Page's Little Bar in Palm Desert, California for another edition of Big Conversations Little Bar. My name is Patrick Evans. I'm joined each and every week by my trusty dear friend, spiritual guru, man of the hour, bon vivant, occasional ne'er-do-well, Mr. Randy Florence.
And unfortunately, we're out of time now.
That's it. Thank you for subscribe so you never miss.
Thank you for being here. The spiritual guru thing still freaks me out a little bit. I feel so responsible for you.
I just...
Can I tell you how I think you're doing with that?
No. That's not the kind of guru you're supposed to be.
We have a lot of work. I'm having to do extra work on myself just to be your spiritual guru.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job. No, I follow along on your Facebook posts and your Instagrams, and I derive a lot of...
Oh, I got a couple of good ones coming out.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Oh, you're going to love these.
I liked when you were just going randomly through the Ten Commandments.
Well, now I've got a new one coming out that prints the Ten Commandments, but it finishes each one with the words, except when.
Oh.
That's 10 Commandments 2025.
I thought you had to do it like you did fortunes from fortune cookies and say, except in bed.
It's not chicken.
That's not chicken.
It wasn't chicken.
That wasn't chicken. We are, of course, very grateful to our sponsor, our primary sponsor, the presenting sponsor of Big Conversations Little Bar, the McCallum Theater, gearing up for another incredible season. This one's going to be bigger and better than ever. They've added shows. They're going to be doing shows earlier and later.
Well, we've been talking about them nonstop. I mean, that first show is probably just going to sell out like in 5 minutes.
I think it's already sold out.
Oh, congratulations. And
because
thank you.
I always tell people, go to McCallumTheater.org and get your tickets right now. So again, McCallumTheater.org, get your tickets before they run out. What's up with you? Anything new? Anything exciting going on in your world?
No, I'll look forward to these every single week because it means I get to sit next to you wonderful people for another week.
As Steve Martin said, I'd rather be with you than the finest people in the world.
I love that. I'm somebody. Yeah.
I'm excited because our guest today is someone you and I have both gotten to know because we were doing an improv class.
Yes.
And Mary Ann Halpin is our guest. She is an author. She's a photographer. She's an artist. She's an actress and a great improv partner. That was so fun to be in the class with you.
You forgot bon vivant.
I didn't know you're the bon vivant.
Oh,
no, you're the ne'er-do-well. She's the bon vivant.
Can I be bon vivant too? I like
you
to
can
be bon
certainly
vivant.
be bon vivant.
I like to be bon vivant.
Raconteur.
Yes. Hello.
wow. I may not be able to focus on the rest of the episode.
Well, cheers.
Well, cheers, darling.
Nice to
lovely
be here.
to have
this
you.
is so
Cheers.
fun. I love this little bar.
Yes, this is a great little bar.
Little bar with the big drinks.
Appropriately named Little Bar. So,
Lovely,
welcome to Big Conversations, Little Bar.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to start by asking you something not about you. I want to talk about your husband briefly.
Oh, my dear.
Joe Croyle.
My hunk of burning love.
You're a hunk of burning love. And I'm sure he can play that tune, can't he?
Yeah, I think he can.
He's an amazing piano player.
He is.
And he's got some really great piano bar stories.
He does. He has a one-man show. I don't know if you saw that one. He has two. One is called, everybody does tributes. And so he decided to do a show called Joe Croyle, a tribute to Joe Croyle.
Yes, I had him on Eye on the Desert. I was like, that is
Right.
a wonderful
That's
title.
so cool.
Because it was all about him as in his old piano bar work and meeting, so many different people. I mean, for instance, like he was playing in this really upscale restaurant in Beverly Hills, and Burt Bacharach comes in with Angie Dickinson. That's a long time ago. And so walks up to him and puts $200 in his tip jar and looks at him and says, "Don't play any of my songs."
That's phenomenal.
So he always says he says, "So in honor of Burt Bacharach, I'm not playing any of his songs."
not playing not
I
a
could
one.
do that. I
Yeah.
could go there and not play any of his
I
songs.
know.
You could.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's right.
I could be very successful in not
I
playing.
think you would be brilliant.
Well, we want to get him on as well, but
Yeah.
I just thought we'd throw that out because he's an entertainer around town. And
I
folks,
said he couldn't come because it was about me.
good. Well, it's going to be about you.
But I love that
No,
show
he
about
couldn't. He couldn't
himself.
come today anyway.
Oh,
He had a music gig this afternoon.
He's
We could have
always
done a
on-
remote.
If we are doing a remote, Randy, we are doing a remote.
Oh, Randy, we'll put you back in the home later. Right?
I'm going to go reverse chronological with you.
Okay.
Because you spent the last few years, you were in LA, but you're in the desert now.
Yes,
You and Joe
5
both.
years,
and
yeah.
5 years. And but you're still churning out work, doing great photography, but you were in a Super Bowl commercial.
Yes.
You were wearing that exact top.
I know. When I was getting dressed, I realized I think this is the outfit. They put it. They had me. They tried everything on me that the costumer had, and then the clients came up. They went, "What did you wear on the callback?" And I realized, this has snaps, and what.
So you're going to
happened
recreate the scene?
Yeah, here.
Just square up right to this camera.
Yeah, that's your camera.
Bingo.
That's mine going.
You did. You had a flash scene in the
Yes,
Super Bowl.
in fact, the fella that pulls the numbers, the bingo numbers, that's David McNeil, who is the owner of WeatherTech.
Oh.
It's like
So that was
It
a
was-
pretty big deal in this town.
It was
do
really-
people still call you out when they see you?
oh no, because I didn't wear glasses and I didn't, I don't walk around with that attitude.
Well, once
that.
once you flashed, I lost the glasses.
around
He
Flash.
didn't remember it was
She was
about
wearing-
WeatherTech.
What?
He's like, what was this commercial about?
You were in that episode?
It was a fun commercial because it was like 4 grannies in that incredible Continental convertible 1963 or something. It had the suicide doors, and we're in the car going down, PCH singing "Born to Be Wild," and
So how did that come to be?
well, a number of years ago. I mean, when I first started my young career, I was a singer, dancer, and actress. And then I did that until, in the 80s. And then I became a professional photographer because it just was, I had to support myself. It's hard to make a living as an actress.
I've
And-
tried.
Yeah, you did you?
As an actress?
I've not done
the
well
dresses
at all.
didn't fit you well, did they? Oh,
My boobs are
Randy.
too big for some of the
Oh my
parts.
God!
Well, that's true.
I know, me too.
And,
But-
people just treat you like a piece of meat, Randy.
They do. I'm tired
I know.
of it.
I
You
got
should
so
be.
tired of it, and now I welcome it. I think. It's like whenever I get cat calls, I go across the street and thank them, and they go,
When you-
"Oh, I'm so sorry." No, thank you.
When you first started
Yeah.
acting,
Yeah.
would you have done the Flash thing? If they asked you as a young...
sure.
Yeah, okay, you would have.
Yeah. I mean, it was so tame.
No, I know,
There
it was
just
totally tame.
They wanted me to do lots of different worse things, So, but in any case, so I went.
You were
through
young, you
that,
needed
and
the
then-
money.
Yeah, exactly.
It was January.
and so it was about 6 or 7 years ago, and I let my hair go what I call natural. And a friend of Joe's was a manager, and he said, "Do you and Mary Ann want to get back into doing commercials?" And I was like, "Oh, please don't make me. I don't really like auditioning. That's why I'm in improv, because it really kind of gets my chops up.
Auditioning sucks.
It's really it's tricky. So I said, okay, let's give it a go. So we went out on one, and we got this little internet commercial for Blue Diamond Almond Breeze. We played Calcium, because we're old. And we had to talk about. So Joe and I were like, we had improv on the street going. He's like, when you're older, you gotta, drink some protein, get for your calcium or whatever. And I went, oh, honey, you're so cute. And they that was it, And then we did like a Big Lots together. And then what did I do? I did some print work for Zolretta, knee medication, and then just the last couple of years was good. I did a celebrity cruise commercial with my friend Frances Welter, who lives in the desert here. We've known each other for 40 years, and I brought her into the audition because they said the description was 2 women over the age of 65. Well, I stretched because I'm not really 65.
Of course.
And so that dance like nobody's looking and just, so we just... we've known each other for so long, and we both used to be dancers. We used to dance in shows together and stuff. And so we auditioned, and, later when I talked to the casting director who was in Miami, he said, we saw that tape, and we just said, don't see anybody else. That's them, and they call us the Bettys. So we did it last year, and then they brought us back a few months ago, and then I'm hoping they, take us to Europe or something.
Well, once they hear this, your calendar's just going to fill up.
Your phone's going to blow up.
I know. I know.
I'm sure you're on the map, but this will put you not only on the map, but on GPS.
Nobody uses maps anymore.
Wow.
So.
I'm so excited.
I know. This will put you right on the Thomas
Cheers
guy.
to that. Bottoms up.
We might be overselling it a little bit.
I don't think so.
The impact
Look
of the
at Sean
podcast.
LaBelle.
Well,
His
that's
career
true.
has skyrocketed. He was our third guest.
That was perfect.
That was it. Sean, he's a smooth jazz artist, and he came on and talked about a wonderful tune that he had recorded and released as a single, and now he's touring, and he's all over the, He's,
That's fantastic.
He's killing it.
That's
it
great.
gives us no credit at all.
None, zero. Actually, that's not true.
I will. When I get my award for whatever that is,
When you get your
Best
Eddie.
podcast guest.
I will mention both of you.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about why you did. I mean, you are a successful working actress. I mean, you're getting parts, and that's. I think we can all say that the older we get, the harder it is to get parts like that in any realm.
I'm having all sorts of problems with parts as I get older.
Commercially, I always say I'm the supermodel for medication. Because when you get older, I couldn't get arrested. Now I could probably get arrested, but back then, I had dark hair. Olive skin. They said you took to look too ethnic and blah, blah, blah. And they all wanted blonde hair, blue-eyed. And now it's like, well, now my hair isn't dark. So, and I am older. So it's great. I love it.
That's terrific.
I worked that senior thing. Oh my God! On flights, I get. I go. I'm a senior. Oh, come this way.
Oh, my
yeah.
back.
Are you kidding? I'm pulling that senior card left and right.
As well, you should. But you were enrolled in, and I did too, and Randy did as well. He didn't come, but he enrolled in it.
My money's spent just as well as anybody else's.
You didn't get nearly as much for your money.
No, I didn't get the word.
You paid a lot more per class than everybody else did.
Yes.
What made you decide to do, and I'm going to give a shout out to Melanie Blue, who did a terrific job. She runs an amazing...
love Melanie Blue. She is, the thing that I love about her is she's so passionate and she's so supportive.
Yeah.
And everything after anybody does, even if we fail miserably, which I have many times, but that's, you have to fail. You have to fail. It's like there's an acting coach in LA, and I remember she had these stress balls, and on it she gave every actor this. It said, "Dare to suck," and I thought that is brilliant. And so when I'm digressing, but when I work with actors, I always say, "Dare to suck." When you're in front of the camera, dare to suck. Because
that means you're stretching.
Because you're stretching.
Yeah.
So why I became...
Well, in some industries, that's really the whole point
there
of
are
the
some film industries where that's the title
now I
of the
digress.
film.
But go ahead. No, that's great advice, because people, I think that, that's the biggest fear for most folks is like, I'm going to do this and it's going to be terrible and I'm going to fall on my face. But you have to do that to get better at anything. The one thing I found about that, Melanie was very... she made it very easy.
Yes.
And I thought she was a great instructor in that regard. The thing that surprised me when I walked into the class, And I didn't know anybody else was taking it. But I walked in and I knew most of the people taking that class. And that was the most unnerving. I really wanted to go into a class where I didn't know anybody and it could sort of be anonymous. But I was like, damn it, I know her. I know
You can't
walk into a room and be anonymous.
I know.
No.
Come on, everybody knows you, Patrick.
Well, but Melanie
You're on
kind of
television every
she was
day.
very freeing. She
Well,
was
the
like
Patrick Evans T-shirt, that he was
Yeah,
wearing that day,
exactly.
just in case anybody didn't know.
Well, I always carry a name tag that says, "Hello, my name is Patrick."
My name is Patrick. I never leave the house without it.
My wife accused me, and I take some umbrage at this. We were going to some concert, and it was an 80s concert. And she said, "Well, what are you wearing? Are you wearing an 80s?" I said, "In the 1980s, I wore khakis and a button-down shirt and a blue blazer, and that's exactly what I'm wearing to this concert." And then when we walked into the arena, and she's like, "I know why you dress like that, so that you look like you look on TV, so that people will purposely recognize you. You're doing this on purpose." And I'm like,
You don't need it.
I'm not that much of a narcissist. I am a narcissist, but I'm not that much of a narcissist.
I've been in that arena when you weren't wearing any identifiers.
You're a Spanish dancer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm always fascinated by how people got here. So
To the bar?
here in life,
Lyft?
yeah, Uber.
I
Lyft.
drove.
Where were you born?
I was born in Chicago.
Okay.
And we came out here when I was 5.
Your whole
And
family?
The whole family. My parents loaded up the Volkswagen. I mean the station wagon, and we headed west. It was one of those. They didn't want to be in Chicago, but with the German relatives were very domineering, and my mother just went.
It surprises
Kids,
me
we're
about
going.
Germans.
Yeah, they don't
They were
usually
very,
go there.
I mean, and she said, she was very strong, and she just put us all in, the
Was
station
it
wagon. My
big-
dad didn't even have a job; he quit his job. Came
Well, what
out.
did he
was
do?
very brave. He was an engineer. He was he eventually worked for Lockheed, and he was a missile engineer.
So he came to the right place.
He did.
Yeah.
So many people came out to California at that, in that time frame.
Yes.
For that reason, my wife's family. That's the only reason they're here. They ended up at JPL.
Yeah.
Because all of her uncles were.
So we lived in Los Angeles for a long time, and then we moved to Santa Barbara, where my dad worked at Vandenberg Air Force Base. So,
When did you start to get into the thought that you might want to do some acting?
Well, in high school, they put me in a charm school, Mary Webb Davis, and little did I know she was a big modeling agency in L.A. So this was like a little branch. So I started modeling in high school. All the designers would come through, and they would need models. So I would Helen Rose and Estevez and even I was even a dresser for the models for Rudy Gernrich. Remember? I was like helping the girl in the topless bathing suit. It was so exciting.
I bet. I'm getting excited just listening
I
to
know.
it.
I know. So and it was just and then I was going to go to New York and model, and I broke in a rash all over my body. I said, "Mom, I can't go. I'm too scared." So I went down to L.A. and I did showroom modeling, and I did all this whatever you can do in L.A. little print work, and then I got into singing and dancing and acting, and I went from there.
And you knew it at that point. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. But, seriously, when 1985, when I started really taking pictures of all my friends that were actors, I said, "Phil, pay for my film and processing. I'll do your headshots." And I just loved it so much. And then I got really good at it really fast. And so I had one of the top agents of William Morris bring me in to look at my work, and I thought, well, I'm gonna pitch myself as an actress, So I look at all the, on the wall. There's all these scripts, and they package people. So I'm telling him about, man. So well, how did you do this? I love the lighting here, and I went, they don't want me as an actress. They want me as a photographer. And that day, I took a leave of absence from. Honorable withdrawal from all the unions, called my agent, said I'm done, and I went full-fledged into photography, and I'm so happy I did. I love it so much.
It worked out brilliantly for you.
Yes. Yeah.
You have books out there, and and I think you charted a really interesting course. With the photography, first with the pregnant photography, the portraiture. Tell us about the origins of that book.
And that was
Well-
your first book, right?
That was my first book in 1990s, and it was when Demi Moore was on the cover of Vanity Fair, and a lot of people, when that book came out, a lot of people thought I did that.
Really?
And I went, well, I wish I was Annie. And-
Pregnant Goddesshood.
Yes.
A celebration of life.
Yeah, under the hood of the goddess, goddesshood. And all my books have really been a reflection of my life. Like halfway through, I realized I couldn't get pregnant. And so this was a way of me reconciling that and feeling like, okay, and really experiencing through other women, what is it like? I was at 2 births. One was an accidentally she went into, just happened to go into, it was a home birth.
Wow.
And so Laura
She went in
Robinson,
deliver while you were doing the pictures?
during the picture, she was in
Oh,
labor.
my gosh.
And so we had her in the bedroom. And she had a whole pool of water set up in her bedroom, and they had music going and light and candles going, and we're waiting for the midwife, and it was rush hour. So we were just, oh my God, that baby was coming.
So you had a midwife crisis.
A midwife crisis.
God.
So
Of
she
all of
got
them,
there
after
just-
115 episodes, that might have been the worst.
Certainly the most recent.
Very clever.
That's the most recent
Quite
pun.
clever, though, Patrick. Quite clever.
That was clever.
Yes. So Joe's out. Joe loves to cook, so he's out in the kitchen. He's cutting vegetables and he's cooking for everybody, and he's giving shots of tequila to the husband, and people are running out. Go, Joe, we're having a baby in here. Quiet down. So I knew I was shooting film at the time, and so I knew that somehow something told me to bring fast film, like 3200 speed film, so that I could do low light shooting. And I captured these beautiful pictures of the baby coming out of the water.
Wow.
And it was just, oh my gosh, it just makes you cry when
Wow.
you see that. And so that was an amazing experience.
So doing that book, though, was sort of therapy for you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
It was.
Because
Yeah.
you couldn't have kids, and so this was a way of experiencing that vicariously.
Yeah, right. And I'm not sad about having children. It's like these books have become my children,
Yeah.
and I have so many nieces and nephews and friends that have children. But it was interesting because we see, like when I went on talk shows or when interviews were done about me, and one guy called me. In the first paragraph, he said, "Childless Mary Ann Halpin had women there at the book signing that could have been their daughter or her granddaughter." It's like, what? What the heck? I called him up and I said, I am not childless. I am child-free, and you better not do that to any woman again.
Wow.
I mean, it was really interesting to see how cruel
Yeah.
people can be, not even know that they do that,
Yeah, that's somebody that didn't think that through all the way.
It was so cruel. But anyway, it was a beautiful experience. Took me 5 years to do that book. And then
it's a gorgeous book. You brought in a copy, and it's really it's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was the first. It was really controversial. I was really surprised. It's like, be careful what you wish for, because I wanted people to feel something, and a lot of people felt really, I don't know, disgruntled
It was just
about
the
it.
look of the pregnant
Yeah,
body.
they were sort of offended, which was shocking, and it was right before. It was like in 1997. So you thought we were more progressive. Of course, now it's not a big deal.
No, we already had a president having affairs by that time, so it should have been.
Yeah.
I think we had.
I think we'd have.
Oh, boy.
I think that'd been going on a couple of
I
hundred
think-
years,
yeah,
maybe.
it's-
So.
I mean, FDR did die in the arms of his mistress.
God
Really?
bless
Yes.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Georgia with his mistress.
Still in the chair?
I don't know. He might have. That's a terrible question to ask,
Randy.
Randy.
I don't know.
Gracious.
That's how I knew him.
Races.
And then you've charted a course with your books. The next series of books, they all three.
We're fearless women.
Fearless women.
Yeah.
So the next book, I met two women that I did their book cover for them. I did wrapped them in fabric like goddesses, and they held swords. And it was about their book was sort of about fearless aging. And so we decided they were
midlife visions, midlife portraits.
Yeah, it's midlife portraits. And so it became a book about women, some famous and some, I call them extraordinary, ordinary women, really moving through fear to embracing their getting older. And so I was going through that too.
I read that you, and maybe you still do, woke up almost every morning with some anxiety and those butterflies in your stomach. Is that still going on?
Oh, that's an interesting thing that you observed. Because the butterfly is my totem. In shamanism, it's like you have these animal totems.
Yeah.
Butterfly is all about really resiliency. And if you, I don't know if you know this, but it has to break down and become mush in order to wrap itself in the cocoon. And you can't, because it has to release the imaginal discs. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And then you can't help a butterfly get out of the cocoon because you'll damage it. It'll die or it'll damage the wings. So I love that imagery. In fact, my logo is a butterfly and a sword. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny you say about butterflies in my stomach. Yeah, I mean, I do. And I think creatives do that. If we don't feel angst and we don't feel that kind of fear, of course, fear is just, for me, it's fuck everything and run,
So it's not a motivator for you. It's get the hell out of here. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to take a quick break and recognize our presenting sponsor, the McCallum Theater. We want to hear from them, and then we'll be right back.
The McCallum Theater's 2025-26 season is on sale now, featuring audience favorites and expanded programming with more than 20 brand new shows, including 7 Broadway shows with 4 desert premieres. Highlights include a robust offering of holiday events and a great lineup of classical, dance, comedy, cabaret, and more. The McCallum entertains, educates, and enriches the Coachella Valley through world-class performances at the desert's premier performing arts center. We kick off the season on September 10th with the Righteous Brothers. John Lovitz brings his comedy to the McCallum on September 13th. Mexican regional vocalist Camila Fernandez is in concert on September 14th. And on September 21st, comedian Monique Marvez brings her smart, sexy, and self-aware humor to the stage. Tickets are on sale now at McCallumtheater.org or by calling the box office at 760-340-2787. Your entertainment, your theater, the McCallum Theater.
Thank you very much to the McCallum Theater, McCallumtheater.org. Get your tickets. That season is coming up. I know it feels like it's the midst of summer, at least when we're recording this.
It is the midst of summer.
But the season is rapidly approaching. Our guest is Mary Ann Halpin, and she is talking about... I want to go back to your first book, though, because the book with the images of pregnant... the portraits of pregnant women.
Right.
That got on The View. So... And you didn't, the book did, but tell us about that experience and what they were talking about, because as you said, the book was oddly controversial at the time. It was
shockingly controversial. And they said they said, would you do this? They had some pictures that they showed, and a lot of them said, oh no, I'd never do pose pregnant. And Joey Behar said something about, I would if I did, I would be holding a beer. And so it was just so interesting. I mean, it was almost a disappointment to me, but it got great publicity.
I was going to ask you, what happened to sales of the book?
It did. We sold about 20,000 copies, and they were going to reorder. And it was funny because the publisher, he didn't like this project, and his wife took it on because she was pregnant, and she ended up in the book, and so it was just interesting that they were talking. Somebody in the meeting called me and told me, he said, yeah, he wasn't pleased it was going to have to be reordered, But it was a great experience. I mean, it was hard. It was challenging. My photo books are so challenging. People say, oh, what's your next book? And I said, probably never.
Never.
I've done 4. I'm still recovering.
All right. And so in your Fearless Women series, you mentioned that some were celebrities, some were not. But tell us about some of your favorite celebrity shoots.
Oh, Joni Mitchell.
Oh, it's an incredible
Joni
picture, too.
Mitchell.
The picture's awesome.
Oh my gosh! I mean, my neighbors across the street, Brad and Rick. Love you, Brad and Rick. Oh my gosh! They now live down the desert, and so they actually were collectors of Joni Mitchell's art. And Brad met Joni Mitchell's best friend at the gym, and it was in L.A. And so they knew I wanted her for the book, so they arranged a dinner, and they got her to come to the dinner. And I was like, talk about butterflies. I was like hyperventilating and, and all this stuff. And the first thing, and my assistant Isabella was like, she was trying to get her she was incredible. She would go after these celebrities and just hound their people all the time. So when I met her, I said, oh, we tried to reach out. I'm doing this book called Fearless Women, and I really wanted you in it. I said, but, I don't want to talk about you. I'd love to just hear about you, because she likes to talk and tell stories, which is incredible. She has incredible stories. And so at the end, it's all, Joni and about her art and the whole thing. And at the end, they brought out my Pregnant Goddesshood book, and they put it down, and she looked at it, and she's turning, and she goes, "You did all these pictures?" I said, "Uh-huh." She goes, so what's this book you're doing? And I went, it's about fearless women and a women holding a sword. She goes, oh, holding a sword. I know just what I'll wear. And I was like, oh my thing. I was ready to faint, So when she walked to the door, she looks at me and she takes my shoulder. She says, I'll be in your book. And I almost fainted, really.
That's crazy.
I started
What a
crying,
great story.
and she was like, yeah, but we almost didn't get her because she got pneumonia.
Oh.
And so Isabella, my assistant, she got right on it, and she's like calling. My editor's going, no, we got a deadline. We can't wait. I said, you have to. So I get at the 11:30th hour, right? We get her, and she comes, and I've got a picture where she's like this. It's not in the book, but she's smoking, and she goes, I remember exactly what she said. I'm shooting with a Hasselblad medium format film, and she goes like this: I smoked all through pneumonia.
Oh my goodness.
And I've got this, it's almost out of frame, the cigarette, and I just went, God, you are fearless. Wow. So, yeah, and I remember we were playing James Brown, because I said, I would say, when I shoot, I said, what kind of music you want to hear? And she goes, yeah, I have any James Brown? And there's a picture in there where she's playing the sword like a guitar. Yeah. And then she stayed afterwards for like 2-3 hours, and Joe brought some wine and hors d'oeuvres, and she's smoking up a storm, and I didn't care if she burned down the couch.
It's Joni Mitchell's smoke.
It's Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So anyway, that was just in the story she told about the loves in her life, and I just laid on the couch drinking and listening and just thinking, I don't want this ever to end. Because, I told her, when I met her, I said, you changed my life. And she said, how did I change your life? She wants to know. I said, well, I was a teenager. You brought poetry into my life. I played guitar because of you. I said, not very well. I said, your music is kind of tough. It's kind of jazz. She goes, yeah, I know it's a little tough. And so it was that was remarkable. And then Erin Brockovich was amazing.
Talk about that one. How'd you meet her?
She, through one of the authors.
You were running an EPA Superfund.
Yeah, right.
I've been messing up water for years.
Yeah. And,
it was your dad and all of his missile work, and they finally caught up to you.
Right.
Yeah. And she was cool. I was shooting Erin Brockovich and Melissa Manchester the same day.
Oh.
So Erin came first, and then I did a picture of her in the book. It's with her sitting on the floor, cross-legged, with the sword and balancing a glass of water, symbolizing Hinckley. Of course, we had a little tape down and so it wouldn't fall. But it's very cool. And then Joe asked her. He said, that scene in the movie where your character hands the water to the people from PG&E?
I don't know that it was back then or back there, but I know to
the corporate honchos. She hands the water and says, "You drink it."
And she said, "Well, that's true, but it was in the courtroom that happened." And I thought that's interesting that it was in where they do, was it the depositions or yeah, and so it was really cool. And I just had such a great rapport with her. I said, God, I really would love to have coffee with you sometime. And we're talking, and Melissa Manchester came, and they met, and they talked, and I walked Erin to the car, and she looks at me, and I said, you know what, Erin, I got to go. I got to photograph Melissa Manchester. It's like one of those like dreams.
Goodbye.
But I did talk to her a few years ago because she called, and it was so funny. She left on my voicemail. She says, "Hi, I don't know if you remember me. You photographed me for your book. My name is Erin Brockovich."
Oh, that's hilarious.
I started
Erin
laughing.
Brockovich.
This is my number.
No,
and blah, blah, blah.
haven't heard of it.
And she wanted me to talk about licensing the picture for a project she was doing. And so I called her back and I said, Erin, Mary Ann Halpin here. I said, you are so funny. She said, what are you talking about? I said, you said, I don't know if you remember me. I'm Erin Brockovich. I said, they did a friggin' movie about you, girl.
I've heard the
And
name.
she laughed. But
Yeah.
we had a great, conversation. And I said, why don't you come down and visit sometime? And we just had but it's not happened yet. But she's just really cool.
This
I love the
this
work
fearless
she does.
woman process.
Hold up that book to this camera so that just kind of not in front of her face. And yeah, there you go. Now you can see it.
This is
the
my
book.
first one.
This is the last one I did.
That's the
Visions of a New
most
World.
recent.
Yeah,
Never say
that
last.
came in.
I know
I
you
know,
said
never
you
say
never-
never, never say last, but most recent. And I just had this vision that we were going to go into a really dark time. This was in 2012.
Well, you
I
started
really-
an organization, Fearless Women.
Yes.
Talk about that. What was the rationale behind putting that organization together? Was it because you saw this dark period moving?
Yes, and I saw that women, I always believe women are the healers of the world. And I was working with a woman that had a nonprofit that was helping women in Uganda that were prostitutes. And she was trying to rehabilitate them and get them jobs and everything. And we were going to do, I had big plans. I was going to do a tour, which I did a tour of 5 cities on my book tour. And it was really a lot. And then I had this organization, and we go into each city, and we get a Fearless Women Award, and I ended up in the hospital at the end of the year because it was too much. It was so much on me, and I don't delegate very well. So, but it was good. But I had a nonprofit put together called a Billion Fearless Women. And so our goal was to do this tour and then have a big concert in Uganda and fundraise for this organization and just raise awareness about what's going on in the world and some of the abuses to women. And I just had a realization I couldn't do it. I was like that. I said it was a wounded butterfly, I think,
Well, moving into this whole thing, did you consider yourself a fearless woman?
I have moments.
Yeah.
I still don't. I don't think we're ever totally fearless, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I always say, fear less, love more. Fear less, do more. Fear less, be more, more of an activist.
Yeah.
Fear less, be kind. It's all about less fear rather than just being fearless. I say, just be fearless.
What are some of the things that you fear the most?
Oof, Patrick. Oh, my goodness. I got to take a drink.
The first thing she said was Patrick.
Well, I believe that's a common answer.
Yes. What do I fear the most?
I'm a scary guy.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Oh, I don't know. I think that I don't want to cry because it's just what's going on in the world is just.
Well, let me ask you
really,
about that because
really,
you were asked in an
interview. It's making
interview.
my heart hurt.
You were asked in an interview how men were starting to change, and this was 20 years ago, a little bit towards the way they talked about women, the way they saw women. And you talked about at that time that you felt like things were actually improving a little bit. How do you feel now?
I think on a spiritual level, that this is it's all meant to be. And I think when I think that the world should be perfect, I go, what do we think this is planet Earth? This is for learning. This is a school.
Yeah.
But it's a really scary time. I think it's scarier than I even thought it would be. And I remember spiritual teachers saying, if we can get through this next period of time, we'll go into this amazing enlightened period. And that's what keeps me going. But I go in and out of like fear about,
You're human.
bills that are being passed, and Medicaid's going to be taken away from people that really need it, and children's not going to get food, and it just makes my heart ache. And I'm looking, I'm always looking to see what I can do.
And what are you doing? What are you doing to help? Help yourself more than anything.
I'm doing the rallies, and I think, it's funny, when I moved down here, I went through a lot of anxiety. I think everything that, being in LA and creating on demand and just really pushing so hard. And I even did women's retreats. I led women's retreats, and I shot, and I was just like on go. So we had to move 3 times in 2 years. We had a cabin we sold, and we bought this down here, and we had another place in LA. It was my home studio, and it was just like, moving. And I got down here, and I wanted so much to nest that the last box I opened, I just collapsed. And it was really hard for a number of years. And so I'm all about people honoring themselves and self-care and taking care of their mental health.
Yeah.
Because
was that what you had to focus on at that time?
I did. And so now it's like, I was talking to a friend, my dear friend Michael Alden, who you've got to meet. Is an amazing producer. I think you know him. He's an amazing producer, and we were talking about really your worth and all this. And I was just saying, if I go into depression, I don't pitch a tent there. But I'll honor myself. And my way of dealing with my depression is, I get on my comfortable couch with my doggy, and I watch like YouTube videos of people, buying houses in Italy, and and then I'm fine, and then it's just like you have to. I don't think you can avoid it.
You don't pitch a tent.
No, I don't pitch a tent. And I think it's so, people get so embarrassed about their mental health and try to hide everything and all that stuff. But I think we just have to be, the main thing is we have to be really cheerleaders for each other. And I'm with that, with all my friends are that for me, and I am for all of them. And especially now, that's the most important thing for me right now, as far as, if you can affect, for each person, your positivity, for each person you encounter with your positivity, you can affect 1,000 people.
Yeah. The butterfly effect.
Yeah. And so that's my whole philosophy in choosing joy.
By the way, it shows. Every time I've seen you, that's what I've seen.
Thank you.
All right, you say you're not going to do another book, but
Well,
you still have a number of acting gigs. What's next for you? What's the next
Is there
project?
about podcasts or anything that you...
It's funny you say that, because I
think I've asked every person.
I started to do a podcast with 3 of my girlfriends.
No, I mean taking pictures of podcasters.
Podcasters. Yeah.
Doesn't that sound interesting?
Specialize in taking pictures of podcasters.
Yeah.
Are you a podcaster?
It's us and Joe
let me take
Rogan.
your picture.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Whoever wants to commission me, I will do their picture. And I've photographed so many wonderful people here. A lot of them like Rose Millette and do you know Luke Yankee? Oh my gosh, he's so interesting. There's so many interesting people, and I can't. I start naming people, and I forget other people, and they get. I don't want to hurt their feelings. But
Who was the least photogenic person? You can tell us. No, I'm kidding.
It was a podcaster.
It would almost certainly be a podcaster.
And I can't say it because Randy's sitting right here.
Yeah, that would be. I feel bad.
Yeah, he was a podcast. I don't know. I just love working. I just love photographing people. I used to share a studio downtown LA with a guy that did product photography. It was a great partnership, because he didn't want to have anybody photograph anybody that talked and anything that talked back to him, and I didn't want to photograph anything that didn't talk back to me. So we were really good that way.
That's a good partnership.
Yeah, he was great. And I learned a lot from him, and still, I'll call him up, and Dan Teccanelli is a fabulous photographer, and I'll call him because he's very technical. I'm not a technical photographer. I'm more of like simple lighting, I make sure the lighting's really good, but I don't do like 5 lights and all that stuff. My thing is really directing, really pulling out, and I think that's where my acting background comes in. I get so excited when somebody gets there. I have these little techniques: look away, take a breath, see somebody, and then when they start really getting there, like, I don't know if you know Randy Brenner.
I don't.
Oh my God, he's a great. I photographed him not too long ago, and he just comes to mind because he's so much fun. He's an actor. He's a director. He directed Light in the Piazza at the CV Rep.
Oh, okay.
He's fab. Mr. Parker at the Des Arts. And he just pops in my head because he was so much fun, and we did some characters, and he had some hats, and we just kind of played, and it was just joyful.
So are you going to be flashing America anytime in the near future?
I don't know. We'll see if they want to do another one,
so
another weather tag.
You'd have to get paid for it.
Oh, gosh, yes.
There
You pay me, I'll do it. You pay me, Randy.
I wish I wasn't
send you
broke.
a contract.
I wish I wasn't broke.
No, it wasn't
my.
It wasn't very exciting. I was all under the. You saw me from the back, and you saw
just
that.
looked like you were having so much fun.
It was
All
fun.
of you did.
It was really fun.
Yeah. So do you want to do more of that?
I'd love to, especially if they pay me the big bucks. I like, Celebrity Cruise too is such. They're such a great organization to work for. They just are lovely, and I mean the other commercial was too. I must say, and I got to tell you that the producer, the main producer for WeatherTech, his name is Kerry Potterfield. He and his wife have a place in La Quinta.
Oh.
And so I got together. He came to see Joe at when Joe sang at Vicky's, and then they're right now they're at their house in Lake Geneva. Nice.
We should do a remote.
That we would do.
Lake Geneva.
You would really like it. Kerry's really interesting. He's done a lot of big commercials, and he's a really good producer. And so he told me on the slide, he says, everybody on the set called you Palm Springs. I went, oh, I like that.
That's actually kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of a Palm Springs
It's a very
thing.
Palm Springs-y thing. Where did you shoot the commercial?
We shot it at 3 different locations, all on beaches. And they set up, like, for the bingo parlor, they set up a whole tent. They built it. And then for, when we get arrested, with they created that too, right in the parking lot.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I loved the character that I did, because it
was kind of you, wasn't it?
Well, somebody described it as a cross between, Samantha from Sex and the City and Jennifer Coolidge.
I can see that.
I love that.
I like both of those. Yeah.
I like that. That's good. But, just like getting arrested. I remember at the audition, they said, okay, now line up against the wall. This is your mugshot. I go, do we get arrested? And they go, yeah. And so they go, okay, when we say 3, go into your, your mugshot pose. So I just took a risk, and I went, and I think that clinched it.
That's awesome.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, this has been delightful. Thank you so much.
gosh.
You were right. You said this was going to be a blast.
I told you it was going to be a lot of fun. Well, again, Randy was in our improv class, but unfortunately, for lots of reasons, he was not there often. But
I didn't realize it was about improv.
it was every week. You didn't realize it was every
I
week.
kept coming in with the script.
Yes.
Well, wait. Does everybody know what your name was? We all picked a name.
Oh,
I was
shoot.
I was marvelous, Mary
Oh, yeah.
Ann.
Yeah,
You were
I was
regurgitating
I was
Randy.
regurgitating Randy.
Regurgitating Randy. I kept saying, Randy, please pick something else. That's
Please.
It was the only one I could
visual.
remember.
And Patrick was
Petrified.
Patrick.
That was a fun class.
And I was. Because it was really off the beaten path for me.
I know, but you were great. the scene that you two did, and you played on Eye in the Desert.
Oh, I did.
scene?
Yeah, we played that.
That was hilarious.
The strip club.
With you were in the strip club. And
I didn't sign any kind of a waiver or anything
Did you
that I was
know?
going to be on Eye on the Desert.
Did you know?
No, I'm hearing this for the first time.
And I played it again right after your child help segment. People, it's like, by the way, if you'd like to know more about Randy Florence, here's a little something.
Every week we're going to be showing a clip about Randy.
Gosh, Randy. Oh, you poor thing.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
I get through it. I have a great wife, so
yeah,
I
a
get
good
through
thing.
it.
God bless her.
Yeah, she's a saint.
She has to be. She has to be.
This was so fun. Thank you for joining us.
You're
Mary Ann Halpin, thank you very
welcome.
much. And you have your own website, maryannhalpin.com.
That's correct.
Folks can find you if you're looking for someone that does wonderful photography.
And good samples of her work in there. Really
Yeah.
good stuff in there.
thank
And the books are available. The Fearless Women series, the latest one is still out, so you can grab that. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your time and your talent with us.
This is so
It
fun.
was a blast.
And I get to have a nice glass
You
of
do.
wine, too.
Yes.
This is excellent.
Well, we don't put the bill out until the episode's over.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody reacting.
Cheers to everybody.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank
Randy.
you.
Great
Glad
job
to be
as
here
always.
again.
You always
Thank
do. People.
I always do
he's
some
Mr.
research.
There's a lot of research going on here.
Yeah.
That is very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
And there's a grocery list over here on this one. That's
My new plant-based diet.
that's right. My thanks to Randy Florence. Our thanks to Mary Ann Halpin, our guest today, and of course John McMullen, our producer,
John.
and to the McCallum Theater, our presenting sponsor, as well as the good people here at the Little Bar, because they take good care of us every time we're taking up their biggest booth.
Their highest revenue space.
That's right, and they let us do it, and they are always kind and gracious. So, and remember that you can sign up for our podcast so you never miss an episode, and we're available wherever your favorite podcasts are. That's the platform you can find us on. Thanks for listening to Big Conversations, Little Bar.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Big Conversations Little Bar, recorded live at Skip Page's Little Bar in Palm Desert, California, the center of the Coachella Valley universe. This program has been presented by the McCallum Theater. Learn about upcoming performances and other community offerings at mccallumtheater.org or call the box office to purchase tickets by phone at 760-340-2787. This program is a production of the Mutual Broadcasting System and is available from Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Captivate.fm, Spotify, and YouTube.
Big Conversations, Little Bar with Patrick and Randy, presented